So, you want to become an entrepreneur? Fantastic. Congratulations. But before we get too excited and pop open that bottle of Cristal and put a down payment on a Lambo, there's some things you should know. Important things. Because as much as these internet gurus want to give you the impression that starting a business and becoming an entrepreneur is super easy, like a piece of cake, it's not. The truth is, it's hard, like really hard. And if you don't understand what you're getting yourself into, you can quickly become disillusioned, unstuck, and just literally quit right out of the gate. So I'm going to talk about some things that you might feel uncomfortable about, but it's going to be real talk. And you may not like what I have to say, but it has to be said, because these are things that are important to know when you're starting a business and what you can expect when you put your first foot into entrepreneurship. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Now, before I start fluffing on about things like smashing that like button and hitting that subscribe button, which you should definitely do by the way, because it really helps me out, I want to make sure that you understand that this video is not about discouraging you from starting your own business or becoming an entrepreneur. If you really believe that the entrepreneur lifestyle and entrepreneur pathway is the right one for you in life, then you should ultimately do it. Don't listen to naysayers, don't listen to people who tell you no, you can't do things. You should definitely always give it a shot. And even if you fail, you're going to learn a lot about yourself along the way. So all I want to make this video about is how to avoid some of the pitfalls that I fell into when I first started my entrepreneurial journey. And if I can help at least one person get over those and not make the same mistakes, then I feel like this video would have served its purpose essentially. So I have 10 pieces of advice that I learned the hard way when I started out on my entrepreneurial journey that I want to talk about today. So without further ado, let's get on to the first one. Okay, so the first piece of advice I have for you is have a strong reason for getting started as an entrepreneur. Now, this can't be about money, or I should say it shouldn't be about money, because what will happen is if you're just doing this because you want to have the Lambo and the big mansion, hanging out with models and flying on private jets, then the first speed bump you hit, you're going to derail and you're going to give up. So it can't be about money. The road to entrepreneurship is a really long one, and it's going to take a long time before you can start paying yourself. And what I see a lot of people do as entrepreneurs is as soon as they start making money, they put it into their pocket. You shouldn't do that. As soon as you start making money, you should be injecting it back into the business so you can actually grow the business. So in that respect, having a goal as just having money is a bad one for getting started. So some good ones would be about having passion. If you're passionate about what you're doing, then that's a great start. And that's probably what I would say got me started on my entrepreneurial journey, because I love marketing and I loved advertising. And that kind of led me into my first business as a consultant, and then onto freelance consultant, and then obviously as an agency owner. The other thing is that it could be about helping people. It could be about helping your family, or just helping those around you in your community. And if you can build up a really good business and start making money, then you can help pull people out of difficult situations. And that could be another driver for you. So having or wanting a better life for those around you is also a really, really good thing that I think would definitely help you stay motivated and stay on track. So number two is, are you really an entrepreneur or are you an intrapreneur? Now, intrapreneurs are different from entrepreneurs because they actually work within a company. So they usually work in high growth companies or startups. And they're people that kind of run like an entrepreneur, but it's not their business. They don't own it. They don't have the risk or any of those things, but they actually run it like it's their own business. So a lot of people can make money as an entrepreneur, like big money, when they start in these companies. So some good examples of late could be things like Atlassian and companies in the startup space who have early employees who would have worked for the company, being the first 10 employees, who are all probably now multi-millionaires when Atlassian went public. And you could probably find these same examples in companies like Canva and all the other unicorns out there that are actually starting to make money and becoming publicly traded. So entrepreneurship is also something that shouldn't be sneezed at, and some people just gravitate more to being and working within a company and in the company structure, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're still an entrepreneur in a lot of ways, and you'll still have a lot of entrepreneurial traits, but you should work out whether that's what you want to do. Do you really want to be an entrepreneur? Do you want to take on all of the risk, all of the failures that could happen, lose all of the money that you're putting in? Or would you rather kind of, if you feel more about growing a company, like you're really excited about doing that, then maybe you should go and find a really early stage company and go and work in there. There's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, you can still make a lot of money doing that as well. So, and then you can hop around to different startups and kind of, once you've built up your reputation at one, it's very easy to go and grow another one once you've learned everything. So I would say that figure out pretty early if you want to be an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur. That's another thing I'd mention. Okay, number 3 is a big one, and it's don't quit your day job. So this is something that I fell into, where I just kind of quit my job and then wanted to become an entrepreneur and start a company. And I didn't realize that I was kind of under-equipped in terms of I didn't have enough savings. I was going to put a lot more stress on myself, and I should have really been building this up in the background before I just kind of jumped into it. So I would say, like, don't quit your day job until your side hustle is paying the majority of your bills, because once it's paying the majority of your bills, it's going to be a much easier transition to go in and then start running the company full time. So I would even say that you want to make sure that you have also a lot of savings as well. I had between about 20 and 30K in savings, and it didn't last me long. And there's a reason for that too, which I'll get to in the next tip. But make sure you've got some savings, make sure you've got a cushion, because it's going to be a while before you can pay yourself. And this is one thing I realized the hard way is when you're starting a business, you have to pour all the money you're making back into the business to grow it. So it's going to be a while before you can put that money in your own pocket. That's why I'm saying that make sure you have a nice nest egg, make sure you have a nice savings thing to fall back on, and also make sure that you started a side hustle. So make sure that the hustle that you're going to turn into your full-time job, you've actually started that and given it a good 12 months of front loading so you can start to pay the bills with it. And then once you make enough money, you can jump across and make that your full-time job. So the 4th tip I have for you is you're going to have to cut back on your expenses. So going back to the tip that I just talked about is I had about 25K in savings. And what happened was I was still living like I had my 6-figure job. I was buying coffees 4 times a day. I was still buying lunches. I was still ordering takeout. I was still going to pubs and clubs with friends. And that money quickly disappeared. And I didn't realize how quickly it could kind of just vanish. So you need to make sure that you're cutting back on expenses if you want to become an entrepreneur. That means you're going to have to pinch every penny, and you can almost turn it into a game in some ways. Like, how much money can I save by not buying this coffee and making my own coffee, by making your own lunches, and maybe even doing a meal plan the week before so you have all your lunches ready to go. You can also make sure that you can hang out with your friends every one Friday every 2 weeks or something, but you won't be able to live that lavish lifestyle that you did when you were making bank or making a really good income. And you need to sacrifice and you need to suffer a little bit, but it'll all be worth it if this thing works out. And even if it doesn't, like I said, you learn a lot along the way. A really good channel that helped me quite a lot was Graham Stephan's channel. And I found that the way he lives, even though he's making so much money and he's cutting back on things, really helped me get in the right mindset of how do I pinch every penny and actually start to even invest some money as well and put some money aside as I was making it. So the one thing you're going to realize a lot when you first start out is all the money you make from your business, it's going to have to go back into the business and keep growing the business. It's like a cycle. If you start taking money out of the business and putting it in your pocket, that means you're going to stifle the growth of this thing you're trying to build into a big company. So you're going to have to take a hit, you're going to have to sacrifice, and you're going to have to learn to pretty much just live like adequately, like live within your means. And like I said, you can almost make it fun. You can make it like a game. How much money can I save this week? And then did I save more than last week? So, and then look at your expenses. Do you need Netflix and Disney and all these other subscriptions you have? Do you need Spotify? Just really take an audit of all the things that you're spending, because I guarantee you're going to be so busy running your business, you won't have time to do all these things anyway, so you might as well get rid of them. The only thing you might want to keep is something like a gym membership, but even then, you can probably go and work out outside or even buy your own equipment. That could be something you could do. So there's always ways to cut back and save money, and you're going to have to do it. So this is my big tip if you don't want to go broke within the first 6 months. Okay, number 5, and this is a big one and it's very daunting and sounds very scary, but no one is coming to save you. Okay, so this is a big one that I learned the hard way. Now, even if you've got a co-founder, you guys are it's gonna be you against the world. Like, if you're in a company and you're working in a business, you always had people to turn to and get help from. But now you're gonna have to do it all by yourself. You've got no one to turn to. If there's a problem, you're gonna have to figure it out and you're gonna have to work out how to do it. No one's gonna give you the lifeboat. No one's gonna throw down, a rope and pull you out of a bad situation. you're stuck in there and you're gonna have to figure it out for yourself. You're gonna have to get out. No one is coming to save you when you are running your own business. Sounds scary, but it can also be something that actually grows you as a person when you have to figure your way out of things. When you actually have to use your brain and critical thinking, it actually helps you grow. So although it sounds scary, getting in these situations and kind of testing yourself and pushing yourself is actually going to make you a better business person, and also it's going to make you a better human as well. So don't get too discouraged. Make sure that you stay level-headed and cool-headed when bad things happen. There is always a way out of the situation. Just know that it's all on you now. The buck stops with you. No one is coming to save you when you have your own business. So just remember that. So a little caveat to that for the next tip. So tip number 6 is you're not a one-man army and you can't do everything yourself. If you're spending so much time in the weeds, you never get a bird's eye view of what's going on, and you end up working in your business and not on your business. So you need to figure out ways of actually outsourcing things that are very repetitive. So this could be like admin tasks. It could just be getting a personal assistant, whatever it might be. You just need to figure out what are the things that are actually draining your time that you could pass on to somebody else. And at the beginning, it's going to be tough because you're not going to have a lot of money coming in, and you're probably going to have to wear a lot of hats. But as you go along, you're going to have to take a hat off and then pass it on to somebody else, and keep doing that until you're wearing the one hat, which is the founder or CEO or director. And you're going to have to work on your business because you'll have other people doing the things that you used to have to do for maybe the first 1 to 2 years of starting the business. So some great places to help you with some of these tasks is places like Upwork, freelancer.com, and also onlinejobs.ph. So you can outsource to other countries. So especially admin tasks, I have a virtual assistant. They help me with things. I have people that do very repetitive like calculations and even accounting. So I've done all this, I've outsourced it so it's not getting in my way and I'm not tripping up on it. And that way I can actually focus more on growing my business and not getting stuck in the weeds and getting all frustrated and focusing on things that I shouldn't really be doing myself, that I should have my team doing. So I would say like make sure that when you get enough money to outsource things, you should be starting to outsource those things that are just kind of getting annoying and getting in your way, so you can do the really important things that'll move you forward and help you grow your business. Okay, so the 7th tip that I have for you is don't be afraid to pivot. What you might realize when you're starting your business is there's actually one component or one product that's actually driving 80 to 90% of the sales or 80 to 90% of user growth. So you want to focus on that and kind of scrap everything else. A good example of a pivot is bourbon. Now, a lot of people may not have heard of bourbon because it's got a new name now. It's called Instagram. So everyone's heard of Instagram. And it started off as bourbon, this kind of photo sharing app, almost like Foursquare, where people could check in and share photos with their friends. And what they realized, or the bourbon team realized, is that the photo sharing element was actually what was driving most of the user growth, and that was the product that the users really loved. So rather than focusing on all the other stuff that was a part of that app, they decided to scrap it and just focus on the core thing, which was sharing photos. And also they brought in things like filters, and so it became this juggernaut, and it got sold to Facebook for $1 billion. Now this all came about because they actually made the decision, a really clever decision, just to scrap everything else and just focus on the one thing that worked. And as you run your business, you're probably going to find things that just don't work out, but there might be things in there that do really well. So you want to scrap the things that are kind of getting in the way, that aren't really giving any growth to the business. Get rid of those things and focus on the things that are working. And even if that means pivoting into something else, then don't be afraid to do it, because you can actually save your company and actually turn it into a money-making machine if you actually know how to make the right pivot. So pivoting is awesome. I've done it as well for some companies. You just have to do it sometimes. Doesn't mean you have to tear down everything and start again, but it could be a really good option for you if you find that maybe your business isn't working out as much as you thought it would. Number 8 is a big one as well, and it is take responsibility for your actions. What I mean by this is stop blaming the world when something doesn't work. You have to evaluate what you've done, and did you really do everything you could have to make this thing work? So if you're sitting around at nighttime playing video games and drinking beer and going out to the pubs with your friends on the weekend, and you're not really focusing on your business and your business fails, whose fault is that? That's your fault. Because at the beginning, you're going to have to give up a lot. You're going to have to sacrifice all of the things that used to make your life fun, you're probably going to have to do a lot less of that stuff and focus more on growing your business. That's why Elon Musk sleeps on the floor of his in his office, because he knows what it takes to grow companies. It's hard. And even at that level where he could literally just give up and go live on an island somewhere with his billions of dollars, he doesn't, because he does it because he's a true entrepreneur. He actually loves growing companies. He loves making things better. If that's what you want to do, if that's your passion, it'll come through. If you're super excited about the thing you're doing, you won't want to play video games. You won't want to drink beers. You won't want to do all that stuff or watch TV endlessly for hours and hours and just sit there watching Netflix. If you're passionate about what you're doing and you've found that, that's what you want to focus on, and that's what you're going to focus on. But if you're doing all those other things and your business fails, then the buck stops with you. It's your fault. And when something goes wrong, you should always self-evaluate and sit there and go, what could I have done better? What did I do or didn't do that could have caused this thing? So that's why I'm saying take responsibility. It's a big one, and it's going to help you a lot in terms of growing your mindset as a business person and as an entrepreneur. So that's my tip for number 8. Number 9 is don't be afraid to shut down and start again. Sometimes things just don't work out and you've put all of this effort into it. You've done the very best you can and the product still fails or the business still fails, and it's going to feel pretty crappy for a while. You're going to feel that you're a big failure and you just don't ever want to do anything again, and I've got to go back and do my 9-to-5 job. And you know what? You might have to for a little while, but you should never give up. If this is really what you want to do, then you're going to find it eventually. But not many people or not many businesses have become successes in their first initiative or their first outing as an entrepreneur. So you're going to have failures. Things are going to go wrong. Things are going to fail. But all you have to do is realize that the best thing to do sometimes is actually to shut it down and start again. Start from scratch. Try something else, a whole new thing. Maybe you're in e-commerce, maybe you want to get into software. Maybe you're in e-commerce and just selling the wrong product. Whatever it is, shut it down, start again if it's not working. If you failed, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, maybe take some time to reflect, and then get straight back into it. Get back on the horse. A lot of the people will just keep going on with flogging a dead horse. They will keep trying to pull something up that is actually failing, and they'll keep sinking money into it, and it's just this, what we call a sunk cost fallacy in business, which is you keep trying to pour money into something because you've already put so much money, time, and effort into something. You keep putting more money, time, and effort, and it becomes like this death wheel or death cycle. And all you're going to do is just run out of cash, run out of time, and burn yourself out. If you know that something's not working, shut it down, start again. Number 10 is put your own oxygen mask on first. Now, where I get this from is, you know, when you're sitting on a plane and you're waiting to take off, and the in-flight staff do the mandated safety check, and they tell you, in the case of an emergency, make sure you put your own oxygen mask on first before you help somebody else. Well, it's the same as in business. What happens is, in business, when you find that first little bit of success, you'll get other entrepreneurs coming to you and asking for help. And your first reaction will be, okay, I'm gonna go help these people. But if you haven't set up a dedicated system for success in your business, if you take your eye off the prize for more than a couple of days, the whole thing could blow up. And that's why I said that people are gonna come out of the woodwork when they want help, when they see that you're actually starting to make progress, but you need to say no. Don't be afraid to say no to people and say, you know what, maybe in a couple of months, or once I fix this, or once I do that, because you need to save yourself first in business. You need to make sure that you're setting up systems. What I mean by that is you're setting up things that, in a way, are running itself. So you could actually walk away from your business for weeks, months, whatever it might be, and it's still churning away in the background, making money, and there's no problems. So at the beginning, all you're going to be focused on is actually creating these systems for success, creating automated systems that run without you needing to be there. So if you got hit by a bus tomorrow, this stuff could run without you even being there. Now, when you have that in place, that's when you can go and help other people and help other entrepreneurs. But before you get this sorted out, it's going to be a death wish if you just say yes to somebody, go and help them, and you haven't kind of got your own house in order first. It's all going to blow up in your face. So as much as you want to help someone, make sure that you've sorted yourself out first. Put your own oxygen mask on first. So that is it for today's video. Hopefully the advice that I provided today will help you avoid the same mistakes and pitfalls that I made when I was first starting out in my entrepreneurial journey. Now, if you enjoyed what I talked about today and you found it helpful, please smash the like button and also hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell notification icon so the next time I release one of these videos, you'll be the first to know. The next one I have coming out next week is on the Facebook Ads Series Part 2, which will talk about custom audiences. Now, if you haven't watched the first video in the series, you can check that out. I'll put it in the link in the description below. But apart from that, that is it for today. And I am out of here. I will see you next time.